All right, traders, watch this video for Thursday, June 6th. Quick story before I get started. Many of you know that my mom is kind of laid up with back problems, and my wife is in Kansas City helping her out, right? And she's been there, I don't know, a week now, maybe? I don't know. It seems like forever because we're always together, so it's weird being without her. So anyway, talking to her on the phone yesterday. I already shared this in chat, but those of you that weren't there today, I'm talking to her on the phone yesterday, and everyone if you know me at all, you know that I think I'm funny, right? So I'm on the phone with her, and I say, I miss you, and she says, I miss you, and I say, sex just isn't near as much fun without you. And she replies, damn it, Mike, you're on speakerphone. So that was my story. A little embarrassing. It's not the kind of thing you want your mother to hear, but anyway, I thought it was funny. Before I get started, if you haven't seen, we've got, there's the website, greatstockpicks.com with an X. Click on trading course and scroll down. And this is literally almost 40 minutes straight out of our course for free. Just go click on it and watch it. If you're bored, even if you're not bored, there's some really nice tips on there on one of the ways that we play morning gap plays. And as you know, or you may know, I kind of specialize in the lower price stocks. That's, they just make better percentage moves. As a general rule than an Apple or an Amazon, right? So that's sort of my realm. I'll still trade a Tesla and I'll still trade some of the other stuff, but rarely. I generally like the lower price stuff. So anyway, another big day in the SPY. Nice rebound. It's worth noting that it's still, with this big 2-day, what we have, like over 500 points in the Dow yesterday, another 200 something today. It's still worth noting that that bounce has taken us just up to the 20-day from below. So who knows what tomorrow brings, right? But certainly a nice 2-day rally. All right. ELTK. Let's go into what I'm watching for tomorrow. ELTK, another red day. We did get down into that, what I call the buy zone, between the blue and red line there, between the 8 and the 20-day moving average. So this is where, tomorrow is where I would like to see this thing bounce. It didn't give any kind of triggers today. It was on Bounce Watch. And if you watched the video last night, I said I'd kind of like this to get down at least in the middle of these two lines. So maybe tomorrow's bounce day, and we'll see if we get any kind of entry signal. LK, okay, so it IPO'd, it's supposed to be the Chinese Starbucks, right? It IPO'd at 25, went to almost 26, and then fell apart for what, four days straight, and then it climbed for 5 or 6 days straight. It's hard to say, right? It's hard to say who's winning here. It's probably slightly below the middle of its all-time range, but the fact that it moved from under 14 to over 22 in about a week, I'm thinking this is 3-day pullback is viable. So I want to watch this for a bounce tomorrow. We'll see, right? Again, only with a proper signal. Ears I was watching the other day, and then it looked like it was rolling over. And then today, its biggest volume in recent history meaning the last several months. It's worth noting that a recent reverse split, about a month ago, 1 for 20. So it's got a low float, excuse me, and a nice volume spike today, and kind of up near the top of a range. We'll see if it can get some legs tomorrow. Don't love that one, but it's worth watching. RWLK was, man, this went up, I think, over 11 in pre-market. You know what? Well, here, let's just show you the intraday. I called this in chat today over 8. Let me double check this. Yeah, over 850. I think it was, if you weren't in chat, I think it was like 6 minutes in. I said, guys, my eyes keep going back to this. A break of the half. It's also a break of the early high, kind of an opening range breakout. And you'll understand when I show you pre-market why I was a little bit reticent to even discuss this one. But it was meeting my parameters, right? Morning gap play, well above where it closed. I mean, you had the inside twos, and you had a topping out at the half, and that's a point at which longs are kind of taking charge and winning, right? Anyway, so let me add pre-market just to show you real quick. Let's see, time. All right, so let's pan out. So this big volume spike here, this was the open that I just showed you, right? There's that 850 high, and then the pullback, and then so that's why I called it long over 850, which it went right there, and went actually over 10 after that call without really ever coming back to 850. It worked, but it was scary. And this is the pre-market stuff I was talking about. In pre-market, this thing's rallying to 11. And then I don't know if it was an official offering or if it was warrants or a combination of the two. Not that I know too much about the difference between them, but it just tanked in pre-market, right? So just picture people that were chasing this long above 11, and then all of a sudden they're just getting killed, right? So this kind of action made me say to myself, I'm not even going to look at this thing, right? After the open. But then, and let me take pre-market off there now. So knowing all of that, here we are back at the early 6 minutes in. It was just super clean, right? Seller at the half. That's where, and my thinking was, and I said, if you weren't in chat, my thinking was, well, you know what? This might have sucked in some shorts that pre-market tank. And those shorts are just going to be scratching their heads and confounded, and maybe even averaging up on a losing trade and more fuel for the continued squeeze. So anyway, long story short, it worked. If you see now, though, it closed near its lows of the day. You could argue, well, why in the world is it on watch? It's kind of an ugly topping tail and everything. But 30 million shares. If this trades in a narrow range tomorrow and then breaks to the upside, I suspect we could get another good little intraday squeeze. So that's why it's on watch. GNCA, a couple nice calls in chat on this one today. Wayne called this through 6. It ends up going pretty quickly to almost 7. Without coming back, it ended up breaking 7 at one point. I called it long over this flag. I had said if it breaks 680, and then it happened during lunch. I was off, I don't know, probably cleaning a litter box or something. All right. Anyway, but I see it broke 680 and gave a pretty quick pop to 712, then a pullback, and didn't do much the rest of the day. But that's a decent candle, and I definitely want to watch it tomorrow. It was definitely in play today. Works. I'm on the fence about this one because it gapped way down today. I liked the action yesterday, then it gapped way down today, but it did end up closing pretty much at its highs. It's worth noting that was on 335,000 shares, so there aren't a lot of people watching this. It'll be kind of on a monitor, but it won't be front and center for me. Cron. Let's see, line tools. I guess I could have done this before, but just to give you an example. You kind of see, in a downtrend, and then you've got this extra volume today, and it's kind of trying to break this downtrend, right? So I think it's worth watching tomorrow. Pretty good volume today. And then Stitch Fix, SFIX, closed at 23.57, and after hours it closed out at 30.75. So they had earnings after hours. Certainly be a gap play, potential gap play tomorrow. We'll see if it gives an intraday signal. I have one more thing to show. MICT. Closed at $1.08, and then in after hours they came out with news, and it popped to, I don't know, almost $1.60. And I was watching that, and then I went to go grill some chicken, and then I came back and noticed it finished after hours at 75 cents. So there's nothing here. There's no call here other than to just say you really got to be careful jumping into something in after hours if you think the news is good. I don't know what turned it around. I didn't even research, but just imagine buying that in after hours where there's not a lot of liquidity at $1.50. You see it being pumped on Twitter because this news is amazing, and next thing you know, it's cut in half over the next few hours. So that's kind of a dangerous realm, trading at after hours on these low float stocks with news that you may or may not understand. All right. Anyway, I'm done babbling. Hope to see you all in chat tomorrow. Have a good night.